Apparently, PAULOGIA made a response video responding not specifically to me, but to several other people. So I realized that requires a response, so here it is. Hello again, everyone. I am TurgerMan1976, and welcome back to the BLOGCAST. As you can see, I am not in the studio this week. I'm babysitting my granddaughter. She just turned 1. Lovely experience. I recommend it. Highly recommend getting a grandchild. Aside from that, so anyway, what this BLOGCAST is about is, of course, somebody had commented that PAULOGIA had made a response to my response on his video, and I watched it, and the night I watched it, actually made a almost 3 hour live stream responding to it, and which was, I think, fairly comprehensive. I'll be sure and link it in the description below. I did it over on my Rumble channel, which I recommend if you want to follow me somewhere else aside from YouTube, you can follow me on Rumble. Highly recommend it. And I realized that in that video, which some people will not watch, that here, if you're subscribed here on YouTube, and I really wasn't sure how to respond to the video because, like I said, if you watch my live stream, you'll see where I kind of walk through it. But just to kind of encapsulate everything into a blogcast, watching his response, I think my video was untouched. I think from my examination of Paul's content, it was what I said it was: ahistorical and unscientific. One thing I did notice about Paul's response, especially particularly to things that I brought up, was that it wasn't really a response. In fact, there were no actual arguments, and essentially, when it came to points that I raised in what I covered in my video, which was not inclusive, it was simply a mocking dismissal rather than an actual response. So if you watched my original video, I made a point to note that I wasn't responding to him in full. I was simply highlighting what I believed were indicative of faults from his article, which was posted over on Bart Ehrman's blog. And my analysis of what he wrote there was that it was fundamentally, again, ahistorical and unscientific. And I stand behind that analysis, which I placed in full on my blog, which I will be sure and link below so that you can go back and read it. Now, more importantly, when I did that fuller analysis, I tried to limit myself to Paul's arguments that were specifically stated in that article. And I attempted to limit myself to the sources that he referenced as best as I could track them down, because as a researcher, I pride myself on accurate representation of the sources. And if I bring in another source, it's usually to demonstrate that the understanding is flawed, or that there's another equally valid position that needs to be considered, or there's information in the sources being cited that is outdated or incorrect or just incomplete, or simply that facts are being ignored. The reason I'm fairly diligent in my citations is because I expect people will go behind me and will make sure that I am accurate in my representation. Which brings us back to Paul's lack of response. When it comes to Paul's interaction with my particular points, he does a 3-in-1. And so what I notice is that while attempting to address particular points, he tries to give his audience a sampling of the responses, which is fair enough. And above all, I myself understand that unless he was willing to do 3 separate responses to every issue raised in all 3 videos, one is required to edit, particularly when it comes to comments for time, or to excise unnecessarily elaboration, or to simply get to the point. These are things I've done myself in my own videos. You can see this one or this one for examples of that. Now, one thing that I have not done, I've never done this, and please, I hope to God that I will never feel compelled to do this, is to dishonestly edit and rearrange statements to change the entire nature of the argument being made. This, however, is something that Paul does rather blatantly. And it's something that I point out in my nearly 3-hour live stream, where I actually play my original video in side-by-side comparison, complete with the timestamps on the screen so that these can be verified. Now, of the 12 hypotheses found in Paul's article, again, my video was about his article. I didn't know about a video. I didn't know about anything else. I didn't even know there had been any responses to it. That's how disinterested I was in it. Because I wrote my response within the week that he initially published, and because I didn't see any traction in it, I never published it. And I only published it because somebody on a commenter on my blog mentioned his argument. So, again, in my video, I only picked out what I considered to be the 5 that I considered to be the most relevant, and I believe I demonstrated my points rather concisely. And I actually just took what I wrote in the blog, which you can go to, and if you use my blog as a transcript, it will follow directly along with what I put in my video, almost directly. And so my video is, of course, not intended to be extensive point-by-point response, but a summary analysis. It's just over 20 minutes long, and most of the analysis that I put of the 5 are between 1.5 and 3 minutes in length, with the bulk consisting of introduction, background, and, of course, a conclusion. Additionally, the commenter who brought it to my attention, which was the impetus for its production, he simply wanted an analysis of the arguments that Paul had presented in his article. Well, like I said, that's something I had done almost a year before, but had not published because I didn't see any traction with his arguments, and I actually had bigger fish to fry, like Kip Davis, as well as a review response to points raised in the book Misusing Scripture. Now, the only response of any substance to the points I made were in the final 2 that I highlighted, simply because I have an extreme interest in psychology and sociology and their interaction with religious experience. But as I pointed out in my live stream, Paul clearly doesn't know his own sources when they're being referenced, a point that could have been rectified by simply going to my blog and looking at the sources. Paul's fanboys, judging by the comments, clearly believed that his response was a slam dunk, and they properly filleted him in the comments. The intellectually honest, which, judging by the comments, are few and far between, if any exist at all in Paul's audience, will take their time to see if the work actually measures up to its promise. Now, could I do a point-by-point refutation of that video? Sure. Just as soon as I get some people from his audience to head over to my Amazon page and pick up a copy of my debut action thriller, A Turning of Shadow, or my book-length essay titled Creation is Creed, both of which will be linked in the comment description below, that might pique my interest to do such a response. Well, again, I'm Sugarman1976. Thanks for watching. Don't forget you can follow me on X and Instagram at Sugarman1976. And above all, hey, head down in that link tree, head down in that description, get into my link tree. There you'll find my affiliate store where you can find a lot of the resources that I use, often at a significant discount to what you normally find them in retail. Above all, thanks for watching, and until the next video, God bless.